Hi everyone. So today I want to share with you my 2017 Project Life album. And normally I'm a lot better at showing you flip throughs of my albums as I finish them. But I actually only finished this album this year. I thought that it was finished and I'm not sure how I managed to forget about it, but I think I just moved on to 2018's album thinking this one was finished, and actually I hadn't finished November or December. All the photos were there but they hadn't been scrapbooked, so I was flipping through all of my albums recently. That's something I really enjoy doing, and I discovered that this album was not complete, so yeah, I finished it and I wanted to share it with you now. So this is a 12x12 D-Ring Project Life album. It's the black and white stripe one. I got it from my friend Anna over at Mrs. Brimble's. Yeah, let's get started. So we've got the sheet lifter there, and then this is my front cover. For the last couple of years I've really enjoyed doing a front cover like this, with black and white photos of our little family, me and Will and the dogs obviously. I really should include the bunnies. Maybe I'll try and do that in this year's album because I have not started 2019's album and I haven't finished 2018 either. I have a little goal setting tag over here which seems to be pretty stuck, so I won't pull that out, but I had some goals for 2017, and this collection was from One Canoe 2, I believe, the Hazelwood collection. So I know you can't see much of the left hand side, I'm sorry about that, but hopefully it's not too bad if I hold it up like this maybe. So this collection was the Chamel Little Things collection, I believe, and it's my New Year's Eve spread. I always do a New Year's Eve spread at the beginning of an album. I know some people end their albums with New Year's Eve, but I like to start my album with New Year's Eve. And I just documented my friend's annual party that she does every year with some photos. And I've got a January divider here from Project Life, sorry, and this is a 12x12 photo of all of my girlfriends, well, most of them anyway. I continued to use that Chamel collection for this spread. Again, I have a 12x12 photo here because I needed something to go on the back of that one, and it's the dogs on a little walk that we went on. I've got more dog walk photos there, documenting some flowers and some little sum-sums, getting my ticket for Camp's Planacon, and looking back at some books that I read for my undergraduate dissertation. And it's funny because it was that day pretty much that I decided I might want to do a master's, and obviously now I've nearly finished my master's, so it's fun to look back on that. But this was all again from the Chamel collection. I was using mainly collections at this point rather than random embellishments because the Like Forever scrapbook kit was still running and I was receiving that every month. So again, this is mainly from the Little Things collection. These stickers here that say Best Pals are from Felicity Jane, and this one here that says Sweet, they're also from Felicity Jane, but pretty much everything else is from Chamel again. These word stickers are from Simple Stories, I think. And you'll notice that even though I've done Project Life for a few years now, at this point especially, I was still just documenting everyday life, and that's definitely my favourite thing to do. Here I've got a drawing from one of the children that I worked with at my job at that time. He drew me all of his favourite Pokemon and I had to write their names in for him. And then he drew me another picture here, which this is a Pokemon as well, I can't remember which one it is though, and he drew a rainbow and gave that to me as well. I love this side of the spread. Again, it's mainly all bits from Chamel. These journaling cards are all from Chamel. They're from a 12x12 paper that came in the kit that month, and I was just documenting January and talking about the cold weather, which is funny because it's the middle of April and it's still freezing cold now. So now we go into February and I've got another divider there. This collection is actually by my friend Anna at Mrs. Brimble's, and I think it was called Love Bug or something along those lines. I think I was on the Brimble's Box Design Team at this point, so this was a spread I made for that. I cut up some of the papers and used them as background cards. This here is from a crepe paper collection. I nearly always use one of these papers every year because I love having calendar cards in there. These die cuts were from a crepe paper Valentine's collection as well. I can't remember what it was called though. And again, just documenting everyday life. There are lots and lots of dog photos in here. This was Bear's first birthday, so I did a little collage for him there. Did some journaling about a dress-up day that we had at school. And that is that spread. These pages were put together with a new crepe paper collection. Again, I can't remember the name. These were all released in 2016 or 2017 and I was just using them up. But I know that a lot of the like stickers here and die cuts that I was using were all from the new crepe paper Valentine's collection that came out in 2017. Again, just documenting the most boring, mundane things. I'm pretty sure I have actually shared the first sort of half of this album before, so I'm sorry if this is all familiar to you, but I just wanted to share the whole thing again. This spread was kind of thrown together with random bits and bobs. Again, we've got some of that crepe paper Valentine's collection, another separate crepe paper collection I think, and this was random bits from my stash. I've got a journaling card there and some thickers from my stash, some wood veneer from my stash, some stickers from my stash. It's just all random this week. This is an 8x8 page. I cut out some what's it called, transparency with these gold dots on. Again, I think that was from crepe paper, and I put some 6x8 photos of the dogs on there. This was February half term and it was Winnie's first ever trip to the beach, so I wanted to document that obviously. The bunnies were moving in around this time as well. It was in our old house. The patio was going down. And we must have had fairly decent weather really, because Will's out there in a t-shirt and it looks quite sunny, and that was February. And again, the patio going down and the shed going up, and I said hooray because I had waited so long to have the bunnies there with me. Many of these pages were done while I was at the Like Forever scrapbook retreat, so that's why many of them are using the same collection. This crepe paper collection was given to us at the retreat and it was our last ever kit, so that's why I was so excited to use it at the retreat. I was so sad that it was the last ever kit, but obviously I wanted to use it. So again, lots of dog walk photos. We were out and about all the time and I was photographing everything at this point. And I've just got a little March title card there that I made with some of the paper from the kit and some thickers from my stash. Documenting a school trip that we went on. If you haven't noticed, the school I used to work at was really big on like days out, dress up days, events, all that sort of thing. Put a deposit on this little baby bunny and ended up bringing home 2. Here's a layout that I made at the retreat of this beautiful sunset because I couldn't resist this paper and I had this perfect photo. And then another layout that I made at the retreat with the kit with a photo of me and my friends before a night out. There's the March divider, and then this whole page is about Archie's birthday and it's using Paige Evans' first or second collection. I'm so sorry, I just don't remember what collections they were, but yeah, just all bits from my stash to make Archie a little first birthday spread. This page here is documenting the Like Forever retreat, and again I'm using that kit that we were given at the retreat along with some of the Paige Evans stuff as well, because I think that had been the kit before. These stickers are from Chamel. This flips up here with some other photos of me with some of the ladies from the retreat. So sad that Like Forever isn't running anymore. This is around the time that it stopped. Like I said, that was our last kit and it was just such a shame. It was a beautiful retreat and Nicola was such a lovely lady. I went on the retreat again last year, but sadly this year I had to miss it because of my Crohn's relapse, but hopefully maybe I'll get to go next year. Here's a big 12 by 12 photo of the dogs when we were in Yorkshire, which I believe is the next spread. I get my 12 by 12 photos printed at DS Colour Labs. I'm not sponsored by them, but people always ask me where I get my 12 by 12 and larger photos printed. So it's at DS Colour Labs, and there's another 12 by 12 there. This is one of those page protectors that has one 4x6 and then lots of 3x4s. I don't know what it's actually called. It should say here, shouldn't it? Design F. So it's a Design F page protector. This spread was made just with one 12 by 12 sheet, I think, and then lots of just different coloured cardstocks that matched, and it had a bad day sentiment on there that said don't even ask, and that just summed up this whole trip. It was such a disaster. I'll read this to you. A dog-friendly hotel in Yorkshire invited us to stay and review their luxury suites, but sadly the trip was a bit of a disaster. The drive up took 8 hours, the dogs were so badly behaved, and the hotel Wi-Fi didn't work. At least we got some nice photos. So I do like to keep things real in my scrapbooks, and you know, one day I probably won't remember how bad that trip was, and it really was like 75% awful, 25% nice moments like this. So we did get some lovely photos. You would never know looking from the photos how bad the trip was, but oh my gosh, it was a nightmare from beginning to end. I felt so bad for Will for having to drive all the way there, and it was just so bad. Mainly because of the dog's behaviour. The dog's behaviour is just so poor, honestly. They're a lot better now than they used to be, but if we sit down anywhere they just bark their heads off at everyone and any other dogs they see, and that's what they did the whole trip, and it was just so bad. Anyway, that continues on to the next page. I really like those pages actually, even though they're documenting a rubbish trip, and again that's one of those bad day sentiments, says ha 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 no. And yeah, just bits and bobs from my stash. Another 12 by 12 photo here of us stood at some beach huts in Whitby, and a 12 by 12 of me and Winnie. This is another drawing from the little boy that I used to work with. Apparently this is me. And then there's another photo here of another weekend away that we did the week after we went to Yorkshire. The trip to Yorkshire was so bad that I was like, right, we need to get the dogs used to going away. So the week afterwards we went to the caravan at Hayling Island, and it was so much better. They really behaved themselves a lot better. It was just like a whole different experience, so it made me feel a bit braver about taking them out again, basically. This was made mainly with the Crepe Paper Oasis collection. It was their travel collection for that year. This little caravan's from Oasis, and these backing papers are all from Oasis, as is this sticker. And then this is a page that I'm not hugely pleased with. It was a design team page when I was on the Paper Maze design team, and sometimes when you are on a design team you have to work with products that you wouldn't necessarily choose for yourself, and this was one of those. It was a paper collection that I wouldn't have necessarily chosen for myself, and I found it quite difficult because it had like a vintage look, and it's not necessarily what I enjoy in my scrapbooking, so I tried to fit it in with like my current supplies, but it's not my favourite spread basically. But this was the like Easter holidays, so me and my mum went to the Emma Bridgewater factory. It was my first time going and it was her second time, and I documented a whole page about that because I just loved it so much. And then this was, I think, the actual Easter weekend. So this was the first year that I gave up anything for Lent, and I had given up chocolate. So that first taste of chocolate was so good on Easter Sunday. We had an Easter egg hunt with Will's nieces and nephews, and we took the dogs to the caravan for the day again, my mum and my brother and I. And again, that was a nice day. Then I have some of my like most favourite ever photos taken of the dogs. My friend Amy took them. We went to Winkworth Arboretum to see all of the bluebells, and we went with my friend Amy and my friend Emily and all of our dogs, and Amy took some beautiful photos of the dogs. So I had to document those. This card is from, oh, what is the company called? It begins with a P. I can't remember it. It's not Pink Paisley. I'm sure it will come back to me eventually, but I just felt like that tied in with the bluebell theme really beautifully. And then these two photos were taken on a walk with my mum just in our local woods, and all the bluebells were out there as well. And then I think the next weekend I got my two new little bunnies, Poppet and Pumpkin, so I just documented that. Then we had Cam's Planacon, and I've used one of Anna's collections to document this. Very cute. I love the photo booth pictures. And I love this girl with the glasses and the blonde plaits because that is just me. So yeah, that's Cam's Planacon that year. This is a bit of a mismatch page again. This is the beginning of May. Got some cute photos of the dogs and of the bunnies, and then I've got some stuff that the kids at school gave me. So one of the little girls gave me this little card here, and another girl drew a little picture of herself here, and wrote Mrs. Murray at the top, and I kept it, and it was on lined paper, so I made it into a journaling card and did some journaling around it about how I felt about the last couple of months of school. And it's funny because I knew at that point that it was the last couple of months of working there, and I knew I would be going to a new school after that. And now it's 2 years later, and it's almost at the exact same time, and it's just interesting to see the progression in my life, I guess. And then this one again was made with bits from the Page Taylor Evans Turn the Page collection. It was just documenting that we got a new fence put up in our garden, and our kitchen was finally tiled, and it made such a difference. It looked so lovely. And these photos were from a school trip. This was also made with the Page Evans Turn the Page collection. This is our nephew's birthday party down here. This is from Simple Stories, I think, this I Can't Adult Today card. Just again some little photos from daily life. The weather was really beautiful at this point, so all my photos feel a lot like lighter and brighter. And I also documented the Manchester Arena terror attack because it really affected me. I was so upset about it for quite a long time afterwards. I think it was because they were targeting young people. I mean, any terror attack is awful, but they were targeting young people, and obviously being in Manchester, I live quite a few hours away from Manchester, but I had friends who lived very nearby, and it just felt very close to home, and I don't know, I was just very affected by it. And the One Love concert that Ariana Grande organised afterwards just really, I don't know, I just felt very humbled by the whole situation, and proud to be British for the first time in a long time, really, seeing all of that come together in Manchester. And yeah, so I documented that. And then I've got a 12x12 picture here. It's a screenshot of my offer to study my master's degree at the University of Winchester, which was very exciting. That was in June. And I've got a 12x12 photo here of Winnie on another day out that I went on with my friend Amy. She's just an incredible photographer, and she took these photos down here as well, and this one of me and Winnie when we went on another day out together, and she's just incredible, so I love including her photos. Here's another little drawing from my little pal at my old school. It was voting day, so we voted, and we also said goodbye to our black lab Tilly, which was a very sad day, but I documented that also. Then we have, going into sort of the real summer months, we had a heat wave at this time of 2017, similar to the heat wave that we had last year. My mum and I did a craft fair with our bandanas that we used to sell, so I've got some photos from that, and then a little photo from my friend's garden of Archie, and I took Winnie to a dog show and she came second, so I documented that too. This is just a photo from a night out, and then these are all pictures from my brother's 16th birthday and prom day. And again, these are all just cards from my stash with some backing papers from Paige Evans. This is a page all about Dogfest. Again, this is just bits and bobs from my stash. I honestly couldn't tell you where they were from, but yeah, this just documents Dogfest. It was my second time to Dogfest and Winnie's first ever time. I've got a doily over this card because it's actually got a picture of the class I used to work with. Just a picture of my breakfast one day, a little filler card from Gossamer Blue, way back when I used to get Gossamer Blue kits, and here's another little thing from one of the kids in my class that says thank you for being the best teacher ever. This was another day out with friends at the beginning of July, again just bits and bobs from my stash. I think that was another Gossamer Blue card behind there. And then this is one of my favourite little photos in the whole album. I had had Archie for just over a year at this point, and all year I had been taking selfies with him like this to sort of like chart his growth and everything. So I put them all into a collage and started it with a picture of him as a baby and finished it with a picture of him at 1 year old, and I just love it. And I made a little title out of letter stickers that says 1 year of adventure, and I love it so much. I'm so glad I took those photos, and if we ever have another puppy I will definitely do something similar. This was a big picture of me and my one of my best friends on her birthday. Another little drawing from the little boy I used to work with. He drew a picture of me and him holding hands with a big heart above it. This was in the last couple of days before we left school for summer, and he was starting to realise that I wouldn't be working with him after the summer holidays because he was moving on to another school, and so was I, and it was so sad. And he used to give me little pictures like this all the time. Again, bits and bobs from my stash. This is from Gossamer Blue. This is a Dear Lizzie paper, I think. And again, just stickers and things all from my stash. I was really on a like kill that stash kick at that time, and we went to the caravan as well to celebrate our anniversary. That was our 4th anniversary in 2017. And then this is going into August. There's a picture of Archie after he came back from the groomers, a little picture of some stuff I bought while we were at the caravan, and some Gossamer Blue cards that I was wanting to use up. And these were pictures from a wedding that we attended in Ireland. We went over to Ireland for Will's cousin's wedding, and that was lovely. And this picture is from flying out there, and I've just got a weekend getaway sticker there. This is a whole spread to document my parents' new puppy. She's a Springer Spaniel called Maggie, and she was honestly one of the most adorable puppies ever. And I just had to document her with a whole spread. This paper's from Crate Paper, and it's behind there as well, and then these are both from Gossamer Blue. And I love this picture as well. It's Ruby, Winnie and Archie all snuggled up together on a bed, trying to stay as far away from Maggie as possible. They all really did not like her at first. This is another trip to the caravan. We managed to get to the van lots in 2017, and it was lovely. Sadly last year we didn't get a chance to go as much, and this year we haven't been at all yet, so hopefully we will get a chance at some point. Again, this is Gossamer Blue, and then all of these backing papers are either from Crate Paper's Oasis, which is this caravan one, or from Pink Paisley's Turn the Page collection, or her first one, Fancy Free. And there's just wood veneer and stuff from my stash. Again, this is a card from Gossamer Blue, and there's backing cards from Pink Paisley, and this is documenting Winnie's first gotcha day, which was here. We went to a pet shop called Not for Cats, which is in Portsmouth, and it's great. And then documenting Mabel, of course, because my parents are crazy and they got 2 puppies at the same time, and they definitely live to regret that decision. This whole page here documents my 23rd birthday, and again this used Pink Paisley's collection with Paige Taylor Evans. Maybe it was Take Me Away, because obviously that's what that card says. These stickers I just bought in Hobbycraft, and again everything else is from my stash. And this page here is using the same collection from Pink Paisley. Just documenting the first couple of days of September and going back to work. This is using all Paige Taylor Evans for Pink Paisley, and then just little bits from my stash again. This is one of the cards from the 12x12 cut apart sheet from that collection with Paige, and it's just a little trip that we took to visit my friend Daisy, who you all know over at My Green Cow. This was actually my first day back at university, and they somehow managed to catch me on their Instagram story, and I saw it as I was flicking through, so I screenshotted it because I thought that was quite funny and I added that in. And then this was a Daxi walk that we went on. As I said, this is again Pink Paisley. These stickers are also Pink Paisley, I think, and it was, you know, documenting the turning of the trees. And I put this card here that says "You are stronger than you think," because Bramble, my parents' elderly Springer, was diagnosed with cancer at this time, and they later did actually lose her at the beginning of 2018. So she lasted 6 months. They told us that it was a very slow growing cancer and that she would probably have a couple of years, but unfortunately she did only live for about 6 months after this. And then I've got a picture down here of 5 out of the 6 dogs that we have between us. This is Manchester Plannerby, which I went to with my best friend Daisy and met up with lots of other friends there as well. This is all just stuff out of my stash that seemed to fit the colour scheme, so again, couldn't tell you where it's from, but I just tried to fit the yellow and orange colour scheme, and I tried to like sort of generally stick with like seasonal colours as well. I know lots of people don't like to do that, and of course you don't have to, but I like sort of being inspired by the colours in my photos. So if I've got a photo of like the trees changing colour and everything, I like to then pick out the yellows and those sort of hues, you know. So yeah, lots of memorabilia and tickets and all sorts of stuff, and photo booth photos from Manchester Plannerby. And then we go into October. So again, you can see I'm sort of using those autumnal colours now. Again, all bits from my stash. These papers in particular are so old. They're from a really old paper pad that I don't think even has a brand. But yeah, it's all those sort of like seasonal colours. I've got photos down here of the dogs in the autumn leaves. As I left Daisy's house the day after Manchester Plannerby, I realised I was only like an hour away from the Emma Bridgewater factory, so I went there. I found Halloween mugs in HomeSense that had a black and tan Daxi on and a Yorkie. Had to buy them. And then again, this is just documenting those lovely days of autumn. It's one of my favourite times of year for sure. I've definitely mentioned it in my, oh sorry about my phone, I've definitely mentioned it in my flip throughs before, but I really like to take photos from my family members' social media or photos that they send me and include them in my albums too. So that's a picture my mum sent me of her and my dad at a wedding. Again, more autumnal dog walk photos, rainy dog walk photos, and then this was Discover Dogs. It was my first time attending. Winnie and I were invited, so that was fun, and we got to go and meet up with lots of our fellow dog blogging friends. And then this was Planacon Europe, which was my first ever time travelling solo, getting a plane by myself. I was absolutely terrified, but somehow I did it. And I haven't documented it in massive detail because I have a separate travel album that I document all my holidays in detail, but I have got quite a few photos in here. So I documented my flight and my time at the airport. I love this photo with the sign at the entrance with the balloons, and then this was the floor of the Erin Condren booth. With this spread, I definitely just picked out papers from my stash that had the right colours in, because as you can see it's so colourful. So again, I honestly couldn't tell you where these papers are from. Some of them are really old, I know. Like I think that's a really old Amy Tangerine one, for example. But yeah, so I have some postcards that I bought. This came in the goodie bag. Obviously we met Erin Condren. We did a little bit of exploring, so I saw some of Brussels itself. And there's a little picture of Erin's signature on my lanyard. I've got my raffle tickets. I didn't win anything, I never do. And like all my like train tickets and stuff from when I was there. And then meanwhile it was Winnie's birthday at home, so I put a picture of them there with their birthday bandanas. And then this was the last day of Planacon Europe. We had a planner stack. I got some Belgian fries from this place here. This was the Prima marketing booth, which was so pretty, so I took a little picture of some of the watercolours. Yeah, so that was Planacon Europe. And then we go into November, which doesn't seem quite right because it starts off with Halloween pictures, but I just had nowhere else to put them basically. So I've got my Halloween pictures. My mum and I went to our first Christmas fair of the year, and I've got more autumnal dog walk photos down here, so I stuck with that orangey theme for that page because I had the Halloween pictures and the autumnal dog photos, and again I have no idea where these papers are from. Then I have the end of November, so November is literally just 2 pages, and some of those photos are actually from the end of October. November I think was just a pretty tricky month. That year I had lots of deadlines at university because I had started uni by then and I was struggling to settle back in. And yeah, I just don't think I took many photos. Will also lost his nan, so we spent some time in Ireland again. And yeah, that's why I've got the Nope Not Today card there, because I think November was just a bit tricky. But I had a couple of nights out, so that was fun, and I documented that I was taking lots of photos and trialling out lots of products for a Christmas gift guide series on my blog. I was so proud of that and so happy with it. I really need to get back into my blog. But yeah, so that is November, and then I've just realised that this vellum is broken, which sucks, but it's a beautiful vellum from Crepe Paper with reindeer on, and that segues us into December. I always start my December scrapbooking with a 12 by 12 picture of the tree because I put my tree up on December 1st every year. This was actually our last Christmas, although we didn't know it at the time. This was our last Christmas in this house, so I'm so glad that I took a picture of this little Christmassy corner because I just loved it so much. And if there's anything that I miss about the old house, one of the things is this corner at Christmas. And then I've got a 12 by 12 here of me and Winnie in our matching coats. And then these pages were actually done recently. They're not particularly good, I just wanted them done. So I'm using mainly the Snow and Cocoa collection from Crepe Paper a couple of years ago. And then there's some random bits thrown in as well. This is from a vellum paper pad from Trimcraft, which is super cute. This little reindeer is from Hobbycraft. And these stickers, I have no idea, but they will just be American crafts. So yeah, this documents the first couple of days of December. This is heading closer to Christmas. It finishes here with this card that says "One More Sleep," so that was clearly Christmas Eve. I've got a little journaling tag here. We went to a Christmas market. This was me and Winnie waiting for Archie to have his pre-Christmas groom. So we were having tea and cake at the garden centre. And then I've got a little collage here of some of my favourite Christmassy photos of the dogs from that year. I finally treated them to their expensive Christmas collars too, and then I had my nails done to match. I just love it. This 12 by 12 photo is probably not going to stay here. It's just here as a placeholder because I have nothing like to put here yet. But it says the best time for new beginnings is now, and heading towards a new year, I suppose that's accurate. But I knew I wanted to have this 12 by 12 photo that was taken of us on Christmas Day. So I just need to find something to go on the back side. This is another Design F page protector. It's tradition to have a Christmas pyjamas family photo taken on Christmas Eve in my family. So this was the last time we had one done as the three of us, actually, because last year Ryan was in Australia, so it was just me and Liam. So hopefully this year we can continue the tradition again. But that's our Christmas Eve photo. I've got some more journaling there, and then these were all taken on Christmas Day, apart from this, which I think was Boxing Day. And a lot of these, as you can see, are filler cards. It's just what I fancied at the time, clearly. This was my Christmas present, my beautiful laptop and a photo printer. So I documented that. And I was just documenting that we were in Crimbo Limbo, the week between Christmas and New Year, when no one knows what day it is or what they're meant to be doing. And I was having little tea parties with myself. We went to the cinema. I was sorting out all my Christmas presents. And on New Year's Eve, our new little niece, Kiva, was born. And again, I've just got lots of filler cards there as well, and that's all made just out of Christmas bits from my stash. And then I've got this beautiful 12 by 12 picture of Archie in the snow, and that is honestly one of my favourite photos that I've ever taken of him. And then my last page in the album, nearly for the last couple of years I've done some sort of variation of this, it's nearly always something similar to this, is a 12 by 12 with lots of photos that sort of sum up the year. So it starts at New Year's Eve and finishes at Christmas, and it's just got all of my highlights, whether that be sort of like good or bad of the year. Like for example, here is the picture of when Tilly passed away, so it's not like a good highlight, but it was a main thing that happened in the year, but the majority of them are good, thankfully. So yeah, that's always one of my absolute favourite things to do at the end of the year, and I haven't done it for 2018 yet because I've actually only scrapbooked up until May of 2018, and we're now nearly at May 2019, so whoops. And then I've got a little page protector at the back where I pop some cards that I don't want to get rid of, but I don't really have a place for. So there's our Valentine's Day cards from 2017. But yeah, so that was 2017. I know that I majorly rambled, but in the past you guys have said that you much prefer rambly flip through videos, so that's what I'm offering you. And I'm now going to go and edit this and try and get it up the same day, so wish me luck. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this. If you have any questions, let me know. This album was made so long ago, so it's so, like, the majority of it was, so it's so hard to remember where anything is from. I tend to take everything out of its packaging and like store it by type. So like all of my papers of a similar theme are kept together and stuff, and I just don't know where they're from because I don't have any of the packaging or anything anymore. So I'm sorry if it's frustrating to constantly hear me say I don't know where that was from, or couldn't possibly tell you where it was from, but if you do have any sort of like burning questions about a product or something, do let me know and I will try my best to figure out where it was from. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed seeing this album, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!